present this event that we hold virtually before every good physical event that we come up with. So ECDF is coming up with a parenting summit on the 28th of September 2028 in India, in Guwahati, and this sphere of influence is a precursor to this summit. And that is why today our theme reads Effective Parenting and Enabling Learning Environment. I'm Dr. Vasavi Acharya, the founder and chairperson of Early Childhood Development Forum. Today, we have a lineup of speakers who will be talking on very insightful topics related to parenting and the enabling learning environment. And we are so happy to have them here and thank them for finding time to be a part of this virtual event of ECDF, which is one of our flagship events. So today, we will be starting with our first round, which is from 11. We have just started and we wind up by 12:30. And the second session would start from 3 o'clock and would go to about 5 p.m. IST. So we wish that you join us and be a part of this. The recordings would be provided in our, uploaded in our YouTube channel. So those who have missed now can definitely have a look when after the event and after we put up our recordings. So today we will be starting with our first topic and our first speaker, Ms. Gomti. She is going to speak about Place for Wonder, and Ms. Gomti is an early childhood educator at the British School, Delhi. So we welcome you, Gomti, and you can present your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank you, the ECDF Forum, for providing me this opportunity. So before starting, could I request for the sharing rights? Yeah.
You may try to share the screen because we have shared the rights.
Yes. Now, is it visible? Yes. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity. So currently I'm working with Center of Excellence, Bhargavatam Foundation, that is in Ahmedabad. I'm working as a research lead, and before this, I was working with the British School as an early years educator. I've recently joined this initiative, and today I'm going to talk about a place for wonder. So here we're going to try to unpack and also pack what it means to wonder. And, in the generation of AI, where, the AI could actually take care of everything, how, we can actually enable our young learners to wonder and keep that curiosity on and change the world. So when we think, what makes one wonder? What do we actually mean by wonder and what it needs? So I feel that, what makes one wonder is when you have to be like fully present in the moment, marveling at nature and surroundings. When you have that kind of curiosity to ask, okay, I wonder what is happening there, how the water is flowing, many more things. It could be very simple for a young learner. When you have openness and accepting discomfort. So, when you say that I wonder, there could be like 100 of thoughts. And you have to go back again and again, unlearn and relearn. And there's like this rabbit hole, right? Yeah. And when you're able to accept, when you have that openness, that makes you wonder. And that also enables our young learners to wonder. It also involves free imagination and interpretation, developing deep understanding and visitor experiences. So maybe these are few points which I've tried to cover that what makes one wonder. You have to be also fearless and it has to be uninhibited thinking. Uh, And, in the further slides, I'm going to cover how we can, help our young learners to witness wonder. Uh, so I'm going to share that how there are like these three dimensions uh, of wonder. So number one is a cognitive dimension. A cognitive dimension is a place where fully that you don't know, but you have confusion, you have curiosity to learn, you have this curiosity of want to wonder, but there's slightly confusion as well. The second dimension is a sensory dimension. So, with all your mind, your body, and your heart, you have this attention to the object of wonder. Uh, and the third is a spiritual dimension, where there is this one odd thing which is always there, but you're not able to crack it. There is always this nature or something, which has this odd, and you're odd, and you have this amazement in yourself. Is also a dimension where we speak about wonder. Oh, while you're listening to this, you can also write down what do you think what wonder means to you, and what are some conditions for wonder. So, number one is awareness. So, there has to be awareness, of what is happening around, what is there in the present moment. And you're aware, and you're also helping the young learners to become aware of what is there. Hence, they'll be able to wonder. It cannot be really abstract for young learners, especially. It has to be something which is naturally there. There has to be freedom to explore, freedom to be, freedom of being. When you let children, you cannot give freedom. It's just an inherent right for them. Uh, but still, as a nurturer, as a caregiver, as an educator, you have to let children move in their own pace. We have to give them their space, their time, and freedom for them to explore, create, wonder. And it has to be there for children to actually able to wonder. Otherwise, if you restrict them, if you keep them confined to what you feel as an adult, there is no space for wonder. There is no room for wonder. There is confinement, and there is always going to be a room where children are going to be inhabited. There has to be joy for one to wonder. If there is a fear in the environment, if there is this, sadness in the environment, and I'm talking about this in from the frame of school, from the frame of the city, from the frame of the parenting as well, at home as well. This all such things keeps on munching. So if we go back to our childhood, our parents would just let us be, and that caused a lot of wonder. We used to play for hours and hours, and now we're confining all those things. So there has to be joy, there has to be play, and it is naturally established that children sense a feeling of joy when they play, and they learn through play, and it is their serious job. Um, and also another condition for the wonder is movement. So when we let them move, so in early years, movement is very, very essential, because again, as we said about the sensory, the physical body growing, they explore everything or anything only by touching, feeling, and realizing. It's not going to be something you tell them, okay, can you wonder? No, it's not going to happen from that aspect. We have to let them move, we have to let them explore, we have to let them have that kind of freedom to get that awareness to actually wonder. This is These are the 4 points, and you can also write down your experiences on our conditions for wonder. The next one is what triggers for wonder in young learners, especially. And this could be also true for adults, but I'm talking largely from the sense of young learners. Number one is human interaction. So when children talk to each other, when children interact with with young learners, with adults, with nurturers, with teachers, parents, there is a trigger for wonder because they interact, they have these questions. We need to give them freedom to talk about those questions. We need to give them freedom of let them explore, and we need that kind of interaction again and again, back and forth, to trigger wonder in them. Oh, it could, and parents at home, uh, facilitators at the school, or friends, any people in the life of uh, children, they have to have this, triggering questions. What do you think? How did this water turn into ice? What do you think? How does ice turn into water? And when you let them ask them, and then when you ask such questions, and then when you let them explore by themselves, when you give that freedom to even spill the water, to test, to go to the fridge and keep that, actually that is one of the kinds for trigger for wonder, and children explore and they learn by doing. The next one is natural phenomena, where children go out and they are, when the children go out in the nature, learn from the nature. And that is one of the best learning, because they go explore, and nature has anything and everything within itself. It is present wholly. Um, and the last one is the, exposure. So when you say exposure uh, to everything, so we just a real life exposure. We can't keep telling children that, okay, there is this market outside. But when you actually go and take them to the market and let them choose their fruits, let them buy vegetables, fruits, or choose anything according to themselves, that is a real kind of learning. Because children have very less abstract mind from 3 to 5. When you give some exposure, they incorporate it into play, and there is much more learning, and there is a strengthening of learning. There has to be change in the environment. The environment cannot be a similar pattern. Of course, children love schedule, they love a rhythm, but when you have slight changes in their rhythms, slight changes in their learning patterns, that triggers for wonder. If you see in the picture, just blindfolding the eye and let the child do whatever. Oh, this could be a change for a child. This could be a big change for a child. But when you let them be, and such triggers can actually do, a lot of wonderful things for them. And now I'm going to talk about what are some prerequisites for wonder. Number one is time. So there is this power of presence. There is this, you need to give them ample amount of time to explore, to move, to, do the sensory exposure and multiple things to let them wonder. It cannot happen in a day. It cannot happen in a minute. It cannot happen just through one question. It has to be longer, um, you know, uh, time for them to let them grow, let them wonder. And, foundations that they need time for growth. Then space, it could be, biodiverse environment. It could be very simple place as a park. It could be, some real life exposures like going to the market, going to a museum. And such spaces triggers for wonder. We need such space for children to wonder actually. And the last one is people. That is all of us together. There has to be empowering families. There has to be a shared growth. The community plays a big role in this, and there has to be inspirational models. So all these 3 pointers are the prerequisites for wonder, for children to think, for children to uh, become more curious. They are naturally very curious, to become more curious. And also, as a people, we need to be really patient as a caregiver, because children can ask lots and lots of questions. They can have multiple questions. And sometimes we also get irritated. Okay, what kind of silly question is that? When you say that, you break that chain of wonder. No question is a silly question for them. It is coming directly from their heart. It is coming for them to directly know that they really want to know something there. So we have to be, as a community, very and powerful for children, and it has to be a safe space so that they don't feel threatened from asking another question next day. So yes, I hope we all are able to create a wonderful education, a wonderful society, a wonderful, and the space of where AI is thriving. We need human beings to thrive because AI has been also created by human beings, and we can always use that to the power of ourselves and not let it grow on us. So humans have these immense potential to think, to wonder, and we need to keep it sustained. Um, so yeah, thank you so much. And that is it from my side.
Thank you, Gomti. A very, very, insightful presentation in terms of how the children learn. And that is how we used to learn in our early childhood years. It was more outside the classroom than inside the classroom. It was more through feelings than tutored learnings. And it was also through expression and open-ended questions for which we used to get a lot of answers, even from our grandmoms and our grandpa. They may not have had the scientific explanation, but they had the right answer. And now at this age, I realize how meaningful they were, without an explanation, but they had the right answer. So that is how actually learning happens. It is an everyday process. It's not about the school or it's not about the only limited timing. It's about every moment. So how we create that environment for the child is very important, be it at school or at home or in the environment. So thank you. Thank you for your presentation. It was lovely hearing you. And we move on to our next speaker. She's Marion. She's joined us from Vienna, Austria. And Marion has been a part of ECDF when we just kind of evolved. That was in 2019. And then she has off and on been part of this platform. And we really love her for her kind of research that she's doing in this area. Marion is an early years education expert. She's the Chief Executive Officer of TLI Pedagogics. So she'll be presenting today on the topic why the first 5 years of life count the most. Over to you, Marion.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's a little late on your side. I'm very honored to be here again. Thank you for the re-invitation. It's always a pleasure to share and to spread information, especially when it comes to parents, because we meet a lot of parents in our work. We have more than 150 children in our schools. And with our academy, we also do a lot of consulting. So this is when we get to know quite a lot. Last week, just a very interesting situation appeared, and this was that the mother asked me what is the best choice of a preschool for her. So it ended up that she went to the two choices. One was very play-oriented and one was less play-oriented. And the interesting part was that the one who was focusing more on academics told her that she can play at home with the child. The child should come to school to learn. And this is when we think, okay, we really need to get all of the educators into the 21st century, because in the 20th century, we didn't know better. But just my previous speaker spoke so greatly about how important play is. And especially what we need to understand is that the first 5 years build the foundation for the entire future. So every mother, every father, and every educator influences an entire life. The future is not created in the future. It's actually really fundamentally based in the here and now, when we work and we address children and we guide children throughout this period of the first 5 years. So it's an honor for me to give you some insights on how we build up our curriculum, but also how we work with parents, what we recommend to parents, and I hope you can take something out of that. When we think about the starting point, which is when the baby is born, you consider this: a baby is born with about 100 billion of neurons. So of course, if we understand that there are so many neurons which reduce over time, we feel the need that we'd like to fill as much as possible into this baby to get as many perspectives of life to be able to do as much as possible. A young child till age 5 can learn about 3 to 4 languages really well, can understand them, can speak them. But that doesn't mean that we have to put them into the child, because learning is a process that starts with birth and it ends with when we leave this world. There is no end to learning. When we speak about a human being and the curiosity of a human being, in some it's more, in some it's less. The best we can see it in the first years of life, there the curiosity of the child is very high. So whatever we place in front of the child, the curiosity will help the child to understand and to learn it. The older we get, the more we also make choices, what we want to learn and what we don't want to learn. But the older we get, also we learn more through suffering or pain, because we are forced in a situation. And when we are forced in a situation, then we have to learn. Let's see, mothers and fathers. No one can teach you how to educate your child and how to treat your child. In reality, it's a trial and error experience that you have all the time. So you can read something, you can get some information, you can educate you on some situations. But when your child starts throwing tantrums the first time, you're in a situation where you're not just facing a child, but you're also facing your own developmental state and your own emotional maturity, and it will bring you into a learning state. So learning is something always exists, not just in the first 5 years. But what we have in these first 5 years is this openness to the world. This is different to the adult. So the child is very open and receptive to learn, and there's nothing necessarily to do, just to be there for the child. One of the most important points in the emotional and social development is especially this phase of bonding. When the baby is born, the bonding of the mother is already to a certain degree there, because in the 9 months in the mother's womb, this bonding started already, the communication started already. All the other family members start the bonding now. From research, we know that the bonding period between parents and child takes about 2 years. So about 2 years. So it starts with adjustments. We need to get to know this new being who came into our world and participates now in our family. So we have to get to know the child. The child needs to understand the world. The baby just experiences all of these physical transitions and then also starts to communicate. A baby starts to communicate immediately from the first day. It starts to communicate by sounds. And mothers, after some time, very well understand what the baby wants. So communication is their language development doesn't start at the age of 3 or 4. It actually starts exactly there when we start to communicate. So when we speak about the first 5 years, and we know that the child can learn different languages, it's not about sitting us together with the child down and showing a house and teach it in a different language, but it's about speaking with the child. Through this bonding, the child will observe, because the important thing to learn for the child is whatever we do. Have you ever experienced that children want to do exactly the same thing that you want to do? And this is also one of the reasons why, from a very, very young age, even if you don't want to give to your child the digital devices, they will be attracted to it. Why? Because they constantly see you and me with these devices. So there's no question that they want to do what we want to do. See, when you are doing the household, your child comes at the age of 2 and 3 to help you clean the dishes, and it's no problem for the child. When you ask a 14-year-old, please, can you do the dishes? You have a problem. But with a 2 or 3-year-old, not, because this is their play. Their play is everything that surrounds them. And whatever we surround the child with, this is what the child will observe and learn. And this is why children also are very attracted to the digital media at these times. When it comes to emotional development, the child goes in the first years from a period where the baby is very focused on the mother and baby bonding. So in the first year, there's no separation, to this phase, which in US sometimes is called the terrible twos, which we would more call an identity phase, when the child at the age of 2 to 3 starts to realize, I'm actually separate from these grown-ups. I'm being myself. This is when you can see that your child looks in the mirror and identifies themselves. This is me. So then we know it's in that period. And that's the period of, no, I can do this, don't do this for me. It's a very important period where the child absorbs a lot of self-identity and self-image. This is why it's really important for us as parents as well as educators to honor this phase and not to be completely exhausted and not knowing what to do with that. And on the other hand, also trying to put our child down, because it's sometimes really exhausting when a child is constantly saying, no, I want to do this myself. But it's a really important phase, because in this phase, the children develop their self-image, their first self-image. What am I capable to do? Who I am allowed to be. And this is a learning that will stay for them forever, especially in these years, because the brain doesn't remember consciously the things when the child grows up. It's in the unconscious, and it lays there, and it informs the body and the being all the time that, oh, you're not worth doing this, you're not capable to do this. If this information was be put into the child at that time, it will be there even, and it takes the adult then to try harder and harder to overcome certain situations, be able to do something if this information is based in the fundamental years. So we have to be careful about how we speak with children, how we act with them, and what kind of information we give to them, what is possible, what is not possible. In the way of social development, we have the social skill development starting from the first day. In a research, it was shown that if you give a child at the very young age an image, like a small movie, where you have 3 figures. One is the one who gets stuck. Then you have another one who helps this one up. And then you have another one who pushes this one down, who got stuck. So one who helps and nurtures, and one who pushes down. When you serve these two, the one who pushes down and the one who helps up, on a tray, the 2 objects to the child, it would always choose the one who helps, because this is what the child sees. This is what is a role model. So the younger child, the more helped the child becomes, the more nurturing it becomes. It gets food, it will be helped when it's having pain, everything. The older child gets, in the study also, more children tended to take the one who pushes down, because this is also an experience we give to young children, that no, you shouldn't do this like this, don't do this, and all of this kind of restrictions that come in at the age of 2. I always say it's interesting, in the moment when a child starts running, walking and running, we change our behavior. Suddenly we think the child is a grown-up being, but actually it's still a child. So role modeling is one of the very important things that comes into the social skill development. So whatever we speak on the phone, what we speak at the table about other people, about our family, about our friends, will also be a fundamental base for the child to understand how we act with each other, how we love each other, how we nurture each other, how we care for each other. So there's so much more than cognitive development in the first years of life happening. And it's not happening when we are in a setting. It's actually happening throughout the entire day when we are unconscious and not aware, that we show and role model things to the child. So I really ask you to make take a lot of time for your own introspection, because this is what we need. We need to reflect on how we role model life to our child. Do we show them that it's easy, that it's nurturing, that it's helpful, or do we show them that we don't care about other people, we are angry all the time, and we are not necessarily interested in anything besides academic performance. So this is the thought that I would like to give you today, because 10 minutes are really very short. And I hope you understand why the 5 years of life is not just important to have a cognitive development, but also very, very much focus on social and emotional skills. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Mariam. This was really, it actually, it's a beautiful insight into a child's learning journey that starts right from birth. And, sometimes we say in our Hindu mythology, it goes even much beyond before birth when the fetus is listening. And, it goes on. And after the child is born, they are exposed to the environment and they start learning and picking up things at every moment. And yes, children listen and they learn while we think that they are not even paying attention. While actually they are listening, they're kind of absorbing. And yes, they learn by examples, by the role models they have in their lives, the examples we set in front of them. So all the time, as educators, as parents, we need to be very conscious about what we are actually kind of depicting in terms of actually depicting it or verbally or non-verbal communication that we do with children, and how they, kind of assess the environment and how they feel. So it's really a beautiful presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it's a pleasure to have you in the forum. Thank you, Marian. So we move on to our next presentation, and it is, we have with us Mr. Jugal Chandra Bora. He is joining us from India, and he will speak on the topic NEP 2020 National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2023, Career Guidance and Stress Management. And we have our timing. This topic looks really big, but I'm sure he's going to give us the vital points in the 10 minutes that he has. Mr. Jugal Chandra Bora is a principal of Faculty Higher Secondary School, North Guwahati, Assam. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good morning to all. So I am here to throw lights, that is NEP 2020, and then National Curriculum Framework, and then career guidance, and also stress management. Within 10 minutes, I'll try my best. First of all, NEP 2020 refers to the education policy implemented in India in 2020. The NEP 2020 is comprehensive framework that outlined the vision and direction for the development of education in India. Number one, holistic approach. The NEP 2020 aims to provide a holistic and multidisciplinary education system by emphasizing the development of cognitive, social, emotional, and vocational skill among the students. And most importantly, early childhood education. The policy focuses on the importance of early childhood education, aiming to provide access to quality early childhood care and education for all children up to age of 6. And school education. NEP 2020 proposed several changes to the school education system, including 5+, 3+, 3+4 structure. That is 5+3, 8, +7, 15 years. The first 5 years of fundamental stage, age 3 to 8, will include play-based and activity-based learning, followed by 3 years of preparatory stage, that is age 8 to 11. Then 3 years of middle age 11 to 14. And 4 years of secondary stage, that is age 14 to 18. That is class 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 to 18. And curriculum and assessment, the policy suggests a flexible and multidisciplinary curriculum that promotes critical thinking, creativity, and experiential learning. It also promotes a shift from rote learning to competency-based learning. Continuous and comprehensive evaluation is encouraged rather than heavy reliance on high-stake exam. And multilingualism, NEP 2020 promotes to use the mother tongue or the local language as the medium of instruction until at least to the 5th grade. So with this connection, one examination is already designed by CBSE New Delhi, which is called SOFL. This is very important. Structured Assessment for the Analyzing Learning. SOFL. SOFL will be conducted by CBSE New Delhi, and this is designed this way: at the end of 3rd standard, at the end of 5th standard, and at the end of 8th standard. SOFL will be conducted by CBSE New Delhi for the core subjects like English, mathematics, EVS, science. At the end of 3rd standard, what the child, completed. At the end of 5th standard, what they have completed. And at the end of 8th standard, what they have completed. This examination will be conducted by CBSE online. The question per like the exam conducted by NTA, National Testing Agency, for JEE Main, then NEET, etc., etc. So this all multiple MCQ based question based on not only knowledge, understanding, competency based, reasoning, higher order thinking. So once this examination students appear, the CBSE board of Delhi will get the feedback where the child is standing, how much of understanding and then critical thinking, reasoning, case-based study, how much they have actually understood. So the clear picture will be there, with respect to each and every child at the end of 3rd standard, 5th standard, and 8th standard. The second pilot project is going on, and I think from 2025. This will be implemented for all. Then there will be a clear picture about the child, about the institute, what actually that they are doing, and also the performance of the teacher, what actually teacher is performing in terms of academic development in the class. This is very, very important. I think once this is implemented, I think for higher education, because the main aim of NEP 2020. NEP 2020 introduces significant reforms in higher education, including the establishment of multidisciplinary institution, promotion of research and innovation, which is actually we are lagging behind in India, and flexible, undergraduate program, credit-based system, and incorporation of vocational education and internship into the curriculum. So this is the for higher education, and this will be much more easier once this SOFL thing is implemented in full phases. And next, the principle of NEP 2020, it's based on it recognizes, identifies, and fosters the unique, abilities of every student by inclusion of teachers as well as the parents of the students, so that overall holistic development is created. The main aim is to discover the child with respect to multidisciplinary, this field where the child is exactly good at. Is he good at in language, or is he good at it, music, or cricket, or football, or physics, or history, or political science, etc., etc., etc. Because till today we all fail to discover the child in terms of potentialities. That is why we consider, after class 12, even after class 10, if we talk about the option, the career, we concentrate with the medical or engineering. Only these two professions, and third is considered to be a failure, but which is not. There are thousands and thousands of avenues across the globe, but since we fail to discover the child, we fail to analyze which direction he or she has to move. I think this is the main aim of NEP, to accommodate all the side with respect to their capacity and ability in different sectors. So that is why, with this connection, I am also taking the this stress management, because there is a 100% stress, as pressure is there among the children, because as they are only concentrating for engineering and medical mostly. So this is very important, stress, for stress, identify the things that can create stress among the children and accumulate and implement, this this blowing off stream, that is their lifestyle, positive lifestyle, their nutrition, health, sleep, meditation, learn to build a positive lifestyle. For the strategies, how to cope with the this stress, means life is a life is a challenge, full of challenges. So emotionally, how much they are intelligent to cope with these challenges. This is very important, because end of the day, there should not be a frustration or depression because of not performing in academic in one field, because there are thousands of fields they can move from one to another. So that atmosphere need to be created at this moment. So stress management is very important. Emotional intelligence, should be they should be trained to emotionally smart to handle all the challenges, and how to enjoy the success and how to handle the failure. So that training must be given. That is, we feel, need of the hour. And with this NEP 2020 National Curriculum Framework has also come in 2023, where I think more than one vocational subject will be mandatory. There are in CBSE, there are more than 30 subjects already listed for the vocational. At this point of time, CBSE is making one vocational subject mandatory. I think in future, maybe 2 or 3 vocational subjects will be there. So definitely their subject, combination of subject will be, academic as well as vocational, so that they can switch over to the vocational field once they complete the school. One thing, the school have to make it, confirm that after leaving the school, the child must be able to do something. Some entrepreneur, he or she must start after, completing class 10 and class 12. Definitely they will go for higher education, but the higher education seats are limited, and also job opportunities are also limited. That fact we have to be, accept. So whole planning is made. And apart from National Curriculum Framework, National Credit Framework, now instead of marks, credit will be given. Child has to complete certain hour of, teaching and learning in an institution. It is already designed, maybe 120 hours for subject like language, 150 hours like science, mathematics. This much of teaching hours they have to complete in an institution, and along with assessment, formative and summative, to clear their the subject within that academic session. And against the marks, there will be a credit. Suppose class 10, probably the credit is set 4. So there is a 4 or 0. In between, there is no credit. Once they complete the subject, credit is 4. Or not completed, credit is 0. For I think class 12, probably 7. So maximum is 7, and the lowest is 0. In between, there is no credit. So I think marks concept, the percentage will, I think, slowly it will be removed from the system. And once the assignment is completed, they will get a credit, and they will get the certificates. So all those things has to be implemented, I think, this near future, very soon. And for this, I think we all the educators, guardians, the society has to prepare mentally, for this change. So with that note, I think for education, India is having a bright future ahead. So all this planning is done. Only implementation and materialization is left slowly. It is actually happening. Like SOFL, as I told you, it is already started. Even grade system from I think 2025 CBSE board examination for although they are going to give marks, but end of the marks there will be a grade also. With that note, I think my time is over. I thank you to invite me. I think I am sure that I'm able to reach with you with a couple of points. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jugal. This was really, I think this would really help parents. It will also help a lot of the principals and how the NEP is working essentially, because NEP 2020 and NEP 2023 with the National Curriculum Framework has actually, it's a very innovative kind of document that talks about children's best skill development. Because what we do is, yeah, as Mr. Jugal said, we try to teach children everything, but it is the special talent or something that the child, they have that needs to be also prodded so that they can perform well in life. The other subjects are also good, but yes, there are some special elements in every child and special talents that they have. So this, I think, is going to be a very big step. And we need a lot of training for the implementation. We need a lot of resources in terms of teacher training, capacity building, and also enabling the children to get the right environment in case of all the internships and that is proposed that they would be doing. So yeah, definitely the NEP 2023 looks like a very promising document, and thank you so much for giving us a very short, brief but very insightful look into the document, how the credit is going to work and all of that. It's really helpful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you in our other upcoming events. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
So next we have a speaker. She is Bushra Salim, and she's joined us from Pakistan. Bushra is a parent coach specializing in early childhood development and mindful parenting. She's an internationally certified trauma support specialist. And today she will be talking about the importance of the early 7 years. Over to you.
Hi, how are you?
All good.
Okay. So today the topic I've chosen is the importance of early 7 years and why I myself as a parent when realized and got to know the information about how extremely important the early 7 years are. It was like a scary science to me. But you don't need to guys get feel scared, because we got you. And we have spent years and experiments and a lot of error and trial method and researches. So we have now the exact toolbox to offer to the parents that how to deal your child when they are throwing a tantrum, when they're having meltdowns, and when they are not listening to you. When there are a lot of parents who don't want to hit their children, but because of the frustration that come in as a mother, they tend to hit their children or yell at them or shout at them, and then the mom guilt takes a complete toll on their mental health. And the main thing that suffer is the relationship with the child, because early 7 years are the basic years that where you can build a beautiful connection with your children that's going to last forever. So what actually happened is the unconscious brain, because we in our human body there are like two parts of the brain, the conscious one and the unconscious one. So when we grow up, then 95% of all the performances that we are doing are operated by the unconscious brain. Like how we are breathing, we are not focused how we are breathing. We are not focused how we are blinking the eyes. The lot of things, how the blood is moving inside our body, how the stress hormones are releasing in our body, how our body processing that. For example, if a snake come in front of me and you, maybe we both will react differently, right? So there are people who, when they see a snake suddenly appeared in their room, they might, try to pick a chair and throw at the snake, because that's the response that they want to fight. And some people will just freeze. They won't move an inch, right? And that's the freeze response coming from their unconscious mind. And there would be some people who's just going to run away in a second, and that might be me, because that will be my flight response. And these all responses are caused by an unconscious brain. Like we, whenever see sudden threat in the environment, we don't take time to think about it. We just, unconsciously our brain takes stand and takes steps for us, and then we do it. So what actually happened is that all these responses, how we grow up and how we're going to react when we see the actual threat and sometimes the perceived threat, how we're going to react, that will be decided by the unconscious brain. So when we are young, when we are like under 7 years of age, our unconscious brain is like completely open, right? We can, all the data, like, as we have heard, the kids are sponges, right? They are absorbing everything from the environment and they are absorbing in their brain, because the unconscious brain gets logged forever after the 7 age and around 7 years of age. So when it gets logged, then there's a line between the conscious brain and unconscious, that's called critical factor, like, and the gates are now closed, right? So when a child is sleeping after 7, and as adults, when we are sleeping and when we are in hypnotherapies and stuff, they what do is that they remove the wall and they go into our unconscious to make some change, some habits. If you've heard about hypnotherapy, people use for smoking, right? Because what they do is that they take you in hypnotherapy state and they go into unconscious, because 95% of our stuff that we are dealing with, we are doing, that's unconscious, right? So what happened with the child when the child is growing up, and especially in early 7 years, the home environment is like very loud, parents are fighting with each other, there are other family members, and there is no boundary setting. Parents are not listening to their children, parents are not validating their experiences, because the way we are raised is not the right way, unfortunately. But when a child cries, a lot of the they see parenting tactics means like, we just want the child to stop crying because it makes us so uncomfortable. And what we do is that we either distract the child, or we either bribe him with a candy so that at least he stop crying, so that we can work on it. But actually crying is a very strong message from the body, and we don't have tools to validate that. So my message to all the parents is that you have to be very careful in those early years. And because of the way we are raised, and because we saw nobody doing this mindful parenting thing, so we end up hitting, we end up yelling, we end up screwing our connection with our children, and then we are feeling the guilt. So what importance is, like, it's an investment in your child's brain, that when you connect to a parent coach, they help you understand how you're going to deal when your child is lying, how you're going to deal when your child is throwing a tantrum. So when you start fulfilling the emotional needs of children, especially in the early 7 years, they're going to be turned into an adults who will be responsible, who will take responsibility of their emotions. Because what we heard since childhood from our mothers, from our parents, that you made me angry, right? But actually our children are not making us angry. That's our inner child being so hurt and being so wounded, that we feel triggered when a child is crying. We feel triggered when a child say that you are a bad mom, and we are crying too. Like, because we take everything personally, because we are raised with this, brought up in an environment which was not emotionally fulfilling our needs. So my message to all the parents out there is that please try to learn mindful parenting, especially for the people of India and Pakistan. I have a YouTube channel with the name of Mindful Parenting, Bushra Sali Mindful Parenting. So that's an Urdu language, and I'll try to make a few more in English as well, for all the people around the world to learn the content for free. And when you connect with the parents coach, it really enhances and transforms your relationship with the child. Because actually it's been proven by research. Another scary fact I'd like to share is that the brain in the early 7 years, and if a child is not in a healthy home environment, so it actually not increases to its full potential. Like, it's physically shrinked in size as per the researchers. And when a child is given a very healthy home environment, parents are loving, listening, it doesn't mean that you won't mess up, right? As a human being, you will mess up. There will be moments that you don't want to hit your child, but by mistake, out of frustration, you might make a mistake. So then we as a parent coach guide the parents that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. We'll dig deeper that what happened actually, and why you tend to do that. So we ask and share the tips and strategies on how to repair, because in human relationships, it's all about the connections and the repairs. So my message to all the parents out there, because I think my time is almost up, is just that be careful of the early 7 years. If you have done the work right in the early 7 years, believe me, life and connection with your children will be amazing. They feel so comfortable coming to you, and they feel so, they feel like you actually listen to them. Their emotional needs are being met, and they will grow into an adult who will take responsibility of their actions, who knows how to do the self-love, because you actually showed them how to love yourself and how to love your children without the condition that if you will follow me, then you are my good boy. And if you're not going to follow this, then you are not the good boy and you don't belong in the house, because we are unconsciously giving this message to our children all the time, right? If you follow me, then you're a good boy. And you're not a good boy because you didn't listen to me, or I'm not talking to you. So that's actually the conditioned love that we are unfortunately giving to our children. So just the message that try to learn mindful parenting. It's extremely, extremely important, because our generation is suffering because of all the things and of that comes in our brought up, the unconsciously parents, the way our parents raised us, and now we have depression and anxiety, and all these issues are coming. It's just that the importance of 7 years and the brain development is huge in those 7 years, and that unconscious part that get lost forever. So I like to end the conversation with this note that just be very careful and just try your best, because we all are human beings. So just try to learn, and whenever you get confused or stuck anywhere, you can find me, you can contact me or any other parent coach, and transform your life, and you will be amazed. You will be literally amazed at an amazingly level. The kids cooperate and they listen to you, and they come to you when they make a mistake. They don't feel shame because you never put shame into it. So just I like to end that. Please be careful and start investing your time, because it's extremely hard, because the way we are not raised, we are the cycle breakers. Actually, we have to break those generational cycles where our parents were taught the good girls are those who obey. So we are the ones who are breaking this. So it's not at all easy, but it's gonna worth it.
Thank you, Bushra, very beautifully said about mindful parenting, because yes, we need to be very mindful. I've come up recently with a early years piece pedagogy, and because I am one of I just love peace in my life, and I would want peace to happen in everybody's life.
Yeah.
So I was working last 2 years on this pedagogy, and when you talked about mindful parenting, mindfulness is a part of this pedagogy, because once you're mindful, what I talk about is, if you're peaceful with yourself, then you are at peace with the world around you, and that again extends to the peace with the environment, because environment being something where we thrive. So we cannot be at war with the environment nor with the people around us. And first of all, to be that, we need to be peaceful with ourselves. So when you started,
Yes.
you talked about the amygdala hijack, the flight, fright, and the freeze mode, where children get zapped, or even we as adults, because we carry it.
Yes.
We carry those experiences in our life. And yeah, once we understand our emotions, once we know how to label our emotions, then we are very much in control. And maybe certain situations might occur, but we are able to handle them with much grace and much poise. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. And,
Welcome.
parents need to be very mindful. We need to break that generational the what have been set for us over the generations. But yeah, we are doing it gradually, and these kind of summits and get-togethers and experts who come and speak on the forum really actually make a difference, because all
Thank
of
you so
us
much.
teach our parents, and our parents kind of get more aware. And for that reason, we are
Yeah.
coming up with a parenting summit in Guwahati on the 28th of September. We will have this parenting summit because we believe in creating mass awareness among our parents. Thank you, Busha, for joining
Yeah.
us. Look forward to having you.
Thank you so much.
in our-
Okay, it's my honor to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we move on to our next speaker of the day, Dr. Fatin Hamama. She has joined us from Indonesia, Cirebon, a place very close to my heart, because this year, May, we had a school visit and conference in Cirebon and in Jakarta. And it was so lovely to be a part of your, the place, the city, the people there. And it's really endearing when I think about it. So today, Dr. Fatin would talk about child sexual abuse, the root of criminal law in providing justice for victims. Children's sexual abuse is very common. We have in India the POCSO, and certain other measures, how we protect our child. So we would like to hear what your government or what is your insight into, the child abuse. And your 10 minutes starts now, Doctor. So we will be presenting the screen for you. Just hold on.
Yes. Share screen dulu di foto. Ya lagi nyari. Ini yang mau kita screenshot. Salah. Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Fatin Hamama. I was at the University 17 August 1945 Cirebon. I am from Indonesia. I am a lecturer expert of criminal law. Allow me to present a working paper in this international seminar and the title Childhood Sexual Abuse, the Role of Criminal Law in Providing Justice for Victims. What is child sexual abuse? Child sexual abuse in refer to any form of sexual exploitation involving a child where the child is used for sexual gratification by an adult or older individual. Example of cases of sexual harassment. In Lampung, a stepfather was accused of sexually harassing and abusing his stepdaughter for years. The case became notorious after the victim courageously reported the incident, which resulted in community outrage. Psychological impact of sexual abuse in children. Psychological impact, psychological trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, emotional, a behavioral problem, physical impact, physical injury, infection, social impact, social isolation, problem in interpersonal relationship. Statistic and has data. Latest data, statistics on the prevalence of child sexual abuse at national or international level. In Indonesia, specific data on the prevalence of child sexual harassment is often reported by the Ministry of Women Empowerment and Child Protection, the Central Bureau of Statistics, and the Indonesia Child Protection Commission. Criminal law and child sexual abuse, legal foundation, law regarding child sexual abuse in Indonesia, relevant article that regulate criminal act of sexual abuse against children. Law number 35 of 2014 and Child Protection 10 point, the law in revision of law number 23 of 2002 on child protection. Criminal law process, case handling step, complaint in reporting, investigation and prosecution process, victim right in the legal process. The role of lawyer and law enforcement, the role of lawyer, legal assistant, protection of victim right, role of law enforcement, case investigation, arrest of perpetrator, judicial process. Justice for victim, how criminal law provide justice, punishment for the perpetrator, restitution and compensation for victim, rehabilitation and psychological support program for victim, calm into enforcement, problem faced, social stigma, and decay in reporting, limitation of the legal system, and law enforcement, protection and education effort, prevention strategy, children's sexuality education, prevention and protection program, public education, awareness campaign, training for parent, teacher, and medical personnel. Conclusion: the importance of criminal law enforcement in cases of child sexual abuse. Step in to be taken to improve justice for victims. The role of sociality in supporting law enforcement and child protection. From me, and thank you very much for you all. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for presenting and talking about how the Indonesian law is looking into prevention of crime against sexual crime against children. In India, also, we are doing a lot because there are a lot of child trafficking to a lot of other things happening, not only in the schools or in public places, but even in home scenarios. So it is very important that we protect the child, because every child's development depends on their overall positive environment, and we need to be very careful how we handle them. So now we have in our midst Mr. Tijay Gupta. He is the Vice Chairperson of Early Childhood Development Forum and the co-founder and COO of Bachpan and AHPS group of schools. He was supposed to join us in the first, when we just opened our this event, but due to some reasons, he could join us a little late, but better late than never. Thank you so much for joining, Mr. Tijay, and finding the time.
My pleasure.
Over to you.
So a very warm good afternoon to everyone. Sorry for being late. I was actually stuck up in something which is related to ECC only. So first of all, these kind of initiatives, of course, puts up a very good light on the subject of ECC. I'll just share with my experience. I was traveling to UAE by chance twice in 1 month, and I went to almost 40 schools in 2 rounds. And especially we looked how the early childhood section is operating in their market and what is the basic difference we are feeling as compared to the best reachable market as compared to India. So we always talk about NAP has bought this, these changes needs to be done, these practicalities needs to be done, these are the problems, these are the gray areas, the curriculum and all those things. But when I visited almost 40 schools, and that too I met all the kindergarten teachers, all the kindergarten heads, all the monitors. We all know like they are very, very well organized, because UAE is like what the UAE believes, like everything which is there in UAE should be best in the world. Be it any building, be it their food, be it their clothing, be it their cars. We all know about it. We have seen that in so many videos. Same goes with education. But when we talk about pre-primary education, sadly, I felt only 10% of schools are doing exceptionally brilliant job. Otherwise, 60-70% schools are still facing those basic issues, whatever we are doing or whatever we are feeling in India. So what came into my mind, actually, early education is a typical category. It's not easy to manage small kids, even with so experienced teachers. So what is the problem lies? Like, aisa kya hai that this is a big problem and we are not able to sort it out worldwide? And according to them, when I met UAE teachers, sir, they said, sir, this is the general problem. We have visited Italy also, Finland also, Singapore also. Of course, outside excursion are more as compared to India, because Their school operates, preschool operates only for 6 months. 180 days only they operate. 183 or 184 days specifically they operate. So almost 6 months they operate, and 6 months is kind of vacation because of the heat and other things. So the problem lies in the category because kids are very small. Parents are not very much bothered. They take it very lightly. Third, we are not giving any experiential education in terms of preschooling. Till now, our focus is to handwriting. Our focus is into vocabulary, pronunciation. That's it. But बच्चे को मैं I always say, but बच्चे को मेरे पास से निकल के करना क्या था? My job is not to make a child doctor, engineer, or an architect. My job is to make him self-sufficient. So I think as preschoolers, the focus should be on making a child independent by indulging him the activities which is required. If you ask me, I'll give a very wrong statement. आप बच्चे को राइम मत सिखाओ, वो सीख लेगा. Numbers मत सिखाओ, बच्चा सीख लेगा. Recently, Sabi ma'am, I was in a conference and मैंने बोला यार, tell me why there's a need to give 200-page history book to a 8th, 9th, 10th class child. बोला आनी चाहिए सर, हिस्ट्री के टीचर थे. नो सर, इट इज रिक्वायर्ड. मैंने कहा व्हाई इट इज रिक्वायर्ड, टेल मी. यू टेल मी 3 रीजंस, आई विल गिव यू 5 रीजंस. उन्होंने बोला सर हिस्ट्री इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर कल्चर. मैंने बोला ओके, दिस शुड बी टॉट. उनको पता होना चाहिए व्हाट इज. मैंने कहा सर देयर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट एज ऑफ नाउ. In our time, it's okay. Internet was not there when I was a student. Now internet is there. So why a child should remember कि 1852 में ये हुआ था, 1850? Why you ask them for dates for years? History is already gone. They should know क्या क्या हुआ था. Say COVID was happened in 2020. That we should know. On which day it was locked down? On which day the virus spread? ठीक है, it happened. And those good things should be taught, not the bad things. हम गुलाम थे, हम यही पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं from the last 75 years. We should show the development after those years, na? Like 5 साल में ही हुआ, like last 10 years में ही हुआ. So I think as a cumulative factor, the focus should be on the development, overall development of the child. That is what as school and as parent we should look into. Curriculum is something which will happen. Focus more on the realistic or the practical thing which is required for this sector. This is most important. If all stakeholders, I'll say stakeholder, first is of course a parent, second is always a teacher, and third is a student. If 3 stakeholders come together and make a circle of succession, circle of progress, circle of education, whatever you can say, I think things can work out in that way. So I think this was my thought on all those things. Specifically, ma'am, if there is anything I can answer that.
So amazing. That's what we always, we are thinking, Mr. Tijay, what are we actually doing with the children? What are we actually trying to, what are the outcomes basically? So when we do something with them, we need to look into the outcomes. And if the outcomes are not fruitful, or if they're not desired, then what is the point doing it? So, to tell you the truth, my son is in class 10th and he was going through his chemistry, and ICSE board is really tough. So there were so many from those kind of chemical reactions they need to kind of learn. And he was telling me, Mama, what is the use of these later? I mean, where would we use it? I said, nowhere. So where are we exactly driving? We need the basic knowledge, but I feel skills.
Just to ask what actually answer you gave when he asked. I face the same question every day. My daughter keep on asking. She's also in 10th. Papa, what is the use after this? So
after this, because later they might take up any kind of discipline, maybe humanities, maybe they will go for social work, they'll do anything. But what are the chemical reactions going to do in their lives? So we never have an answer. I said, see, this is what is very useless, but now you have to do it because still there is a change, and we are the people who bring change. We if we get together, we can bring a change. And I feel till that change happens in India, students are really going to kind of mug up and do things and, fight for the marks. And then the competition, the environment at home and the neighborhood, what is the score? And, later you'll see them doing very well as a chef. So where is this whole thing coming? I mean, so basically we look at the mindset. What we do in our schools is build up a positive mindset, a happy learning environment where they are not scared of learning, where they are not scared of questioning. So these are, I think, things we need to work on, because once a child is ready to absorb, they can absorb all the good in this world. And, they should be exposed to the good and the bad, and they should be given that kind of a learning, like we are talking about the Panchakosha and the Panjabis and all of that, where children, they go to the spiritual development as well. In India, it is very much there, though we don't see it much in the Western culture, but gradually they are taking it up. So we see that this is very important aspect of development, because how we use our knowledge and intellect is very important, whether it is for a good or a bad cause. So the moral and the ethics is important. Thank you, Mr. Tijay, for joining us in spite of this very, very hectic schedule. So we'll plan some other events which we are lining up. So I'll definitely get in touch with you. So you be on in the platform till you do not have another work. We'll be happy to have you now with us for some time. And so we move on to our next speaker. She is Neha Goel, and Neha is an author. She's the founder of Caring Roots and a certified NLP practitioner. And today she would be presenting on parenting styles. Very important, something we really always keep, look forward to hearing about, because it keeps changing. And there's a lot of dynamics to that. Parenting styles and that affect learning environment of children. So over to you, Neha.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Myself, Neha Goel Shrivastava, the co-founder and author of Caring Roots, as ma'am said, an initiative dedicated to helping and transforming the lives of children by empowering parenting techniques. So thank you for allowing me to speak on the topic that is so close to my heart, and that is parenting. Just like a plant needs strong roots to thrive, children need a solid foundation built on love, guidance, and support of their children, of their parents, sorry. So when we care for these roots, we help our children to grow into strong, healthy, and resilient individuals. What is parenting and its impact on children? So today we are going to discuss about how different parenting styles can we generally use with our children for effective parenting. So the types of discipline you can use as a parent have a dramatic effects on your child's development. Your discipline strategies can have a big impact on the type of relationship you have with your children. The various approaches to discipline can even influence a child's mood and temperament into adulthood also. So researchers have discovered 4 types of parenting style, and these different styles are dependent on what the parents feel and child needs for them. So as a result, each parenting style uses a different approach to discipline. So now first we talk about the first parenting style, that is authoritarian parenting style. So what are the characteristics of authoritarian parenting style? So in this parenting style, parents has high expectations from their children. They have very strict rules that they expect to be followed unconditionally. And they want their children to be very obedient and status oriented too. Expect that their orders to be obeyed every time, whatever they are saying, without explanation or reasoning behind their rules. And they often utilize punishments rather than discipline. This is very important. And the parents are very demanding, but not responsive to the child's need. The parents don't express much warmth and nurturing to their children. And even they don't give choices to them or options to them. So we can say that in this kind of parenting, the parent is the boss. So I am the boss. Because I said so, you have to do this. So this is authoritarian parenting. Now, the effect of this style of parenting is children tend to associate obedience and success with love in some cases. But some children display more aggressive behavior outside the home because they are unexpressive inside the home. Others may act fearful and overly shy around others. Some often have lower self-esteem and even though have difficulty in social situations too. So this is the first parenting style. Now we will come to the second parenting style. We can say it a neglectful parenting style or maybe uninvolved parenting style. So let's discuss about the characteristics of this parenting style. Here, parents are emotionally distant from their children. The busy parent in the right scenario, right? So everybody, both parents are working. So the busy parent, they offer little or no supervision for their children, show little warmth, love, and affection towards their children. Some of the parents have few or no expectations or demands for the behavior of their children. And even though some of them don't attend school events time to time or teacher conferences also. They intentionally or maybe unintentionally avoid their children and are often too overwhelmed by their own problems to deal with their child's problem. Now, the effect of uninvolved parenting style. Children are often emotionally withdrawn. So they have no emotional connect with the parent. They tend to exhibit more delinquency during the adolescence. They feel fear, anxiety, and stress due to the lack of family support. And this is very important effect that they have an increased risk of substance abuse. They become very fearful and dependent on others for their needs. So now, this is the second one. Now the third one. Third parenting style is permissive parenting style. So the characteristics of permissive parenting style is parents have few rules or standards for behavior. Okay, when there are rules, they are often very inconsistent. So if the children are following the rules, it's okay. If they are not following the rules, they are very inconsistent into it. Now, are usually very nurturing and loving towards their children. They are fulfilling all the demands of their children. They are giving gifts and toys and they are doing bribery, right? To just that so that the kid behave very well. In this parenting style, the parents more like a friend rather than a parent. So becoming a friend is okay, but on a certain age of time, you have to be in the starting, you have to be act like a parent, right? So in this parenting style, the child is the boss. So we can say the children can say, I am the boss in this particular permissive style, parenting style. Now, what are the effects of permissive parenting style? Children may show lack of self-discipline. Sometimes have poor social skills because they don't know how to behave in a social circle. Maybe self-involved and demanding because all the demands are already completed without saying, right? Or maybe only once they said and parents are already ready to fulfill their parenting demands. So some of the children may feel insecure due to the lack of boundary and guidance because they don't know what are the boundaries and what are the guidance. Now, the fourth parenting style, and as a parenting coach, I always suggest parents for this parenting style, and this is authoritative parenting style. So in this parenting style, the parents' behavior is they always listen to their child's point of view and take it into account. Parents try to balance the responsibility of the child to conform to the needs of demands of others with the rights of children to be respected and have their own needs met properly. They allow their children freedom, but have consistent rules and boundaries. So there are set boundaries and rules for their children. They are very warm and supportive. There is always a dialogue between the parent and a child. Like when the child is not ready to do homework or not ready to eat their meal, so the parent can ask, okay, how can we make this work for both of us? So you give the option. So here, parent is giving chance to their children to speak. Now, if the child is not, if the child is misbehaving in a social circle or maybe in the house, so parents can ask this to parents that, you know, you should not have done like this. Okay, let's talk about how we can handle the situation better next time. So this is authoritative parenting style. And now, this parenting style, what will be the effect of this parenting style on child behavior? So now child will be self-confident, socially competent children, highly self-esteemed, academically successful. They are less likely to report depression and anxiety and less likely to engage in antisocial behavior and drug use. And the most important thing, as an adult, they will form and sustain a relationship for long, a healthy relationship they will form. So why I say that why authoritative parenting works always? Because in this kind of parenting, parent act as a role model and exhibit the same behavior they expect from their child, which helps them to internalize these behaviors. In this parenting style, consistent rules and discipline allow children to know what to accept. Authoritative parents are warm but firm also with their children. And they encourage their adolescent to be independent while maintaining limits and control on their actions. And the most important thing is authoritative parents do not invoke the because I said rule. That is in authoritarian parenting style. So the conversation is between both parent and child. Now, it may be happen that parenting styles or maybe differ between parents, right? Like one parent is permissive while the other parent is authoritative. In this situation, parents should discuss in private, not in front of the children, okay, acceptable and unacceptable child behavior. And they can work on those areas and they can reach to an agreement. So best way to handle misbehavior when a child misbehaving. So in authoritative parenting, the best way to handle misbehavior is by reasoning with the child. You should have a conversation with your child, especially explaining the consequences of child's action for others. Timeout is very effective in this kind of parenting. So if a child is misbehaved, parents may take a timeout. Like a parent might take away TV viewing time or a specified time period from the child. So the child will understand. I know I can say that this is the extremely difficult parenting style, but I suggest that authoritative parenting style is the best parenting style. So thank you very much for listening. I hope all the parents who are watching will definitely make amendments in their parenting style after this. As I always say, when a child is born, a parent is born too. So dear parents, you are also growing along with your child. So remember that and think of it and grow with caring roots. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you for joining us and giving us an insight into the parenting styles. And we kind of, we always learn as parents. When the child is very little, then we are a different kind of parent. And when the child grows up and is about to, appear for boards, we are another kind of parents when they are in their teenagers and adolescents. So, yeah, the desired parenting style is very important because we need to set examples. And we do not want that our child gets completely out of control, but at the same time not have no independence or nothing, and kind of get completely dominated in our home environment. So there are a lot of plus and minus in what we do, how we set our examples. But we are all learning. Nobody is a perfect parent, from what I know.
Yes,
We can't. Yeah, we really can't be the
I
perfect.
also say, and even though in my book also I have written, there is no good parent or bad parent.
Bad parent. There's no good parent or
So
bad parent. There's
when
no
a
perfect
child is
parent.
growing, if a child is 5 years old, the parent is also 5 years old. They are also learning along with the child.
And always, we see that we are better parents for our neighbors' children. So, I'm a better parent for my neighbor's son than my own son. So it's always like that. So I don't know how we are going to, finally get our mark sheets as parents when they grow up, and so that's also a test of time. Thank you so much for your presentation, and it was really a very insightful one. And we move on to our last speaker of today's first half of the SOI event, the sphere of influence. And today we have with us Dr. Neena Gulabani. She'll also be a part of our parenting summit in Guwahati. And we so look forward to having her and welcoming her to our city. And Dr. Neena is a humanistic coach, and she's a trainer and a speaker, and she's a founder of Anubhav Learning Center, which is an early childhood care and education center. And today she would be speaking about foundation of life skills, a very important topic, I must say. And over to you, Neena. Let's hear what you say. And definitely it's going to be really, really insightful for all of us. Thank you. Over to you. You can make it full screen.
Yeah, thank you, Vasavi. And it was, I think the flow is very organic from Tijay to Neha and me, because I think we are saying the same thing in different formats. So important is, what is the purpose? What kind of a human being do we want when the child grows up? So the purpose is very important. And when that purpose is clear, as Tijay said, then our approach has to be in line with the purpose. And that is what it is. I've seen, because I'm also a life coach, we've seen adults or youngsters coming, and then they say, suddenly parents say that, oh, the child is not independent at all, or the child is unable to make decisions. So whenever we talk of these life skills, they don't suddenly pop up. So these life skills are very much rooted within our foundational years and during the early years. So we all know what life skills are. I don't need to talk about these. These are basically the abilities which make children handle life way better as they move into youth and adulthood. And now, what are the kind of if we look at the types of life skills, different books would give different kinds of life skills, right? So some of these we integrated, and some of these may be said in a different terminology. So here we're looking at communication, independence, household chores, self-care and regulation, then things related to social, emotional space, respect, empathy, compassion, cognitive decision-making, problem-solving, creativity, financial literacy, creative thinking, and entrepreneurship. Now, having understood that these are the kind of life skills we need our children to have as they are in their growing years, but then we need to consciously integrate these in our daily activities, so that when they grow up, it's very organically they develop these life skills. So where do these life skills come from? So children are basically in the settings of home, school, with their friends, in the garden, in the park, etc. So let's look at the daily activities at home. So very simple things. I'm not going to read out the whole thing, but very, very simple things that children are encouraged to do, making their bed or placing the brush and the toothpaste. I had a case where a couple came for a marriage counseling because the wife said that the husband doesn't keep cap of the toothpaste. Now, it could be as small issue as this, which could become a bigger issue later in our relationships. So putting all the things in place, then how do we use our toilet? And this goes more for boys. I don't think we ever pay any importance to this. Then self-grooming and dressing, self-feeding, and simple things like turning off lights and fans. Now, other activities at home is how do we engage children in managing their space, like almirahs, filling up their water bottles, or using the bins, or handling the waste. So we talk about where a particular kind of waste goes. During the meal time, laying and clearing the dining table. Now, very small activity of keeping socks together. We used to do as one of the activities in our preschool and daycare, keeping the shoes in place, and serving water and food. Now, it's not just about doing things only for your own self, but how caring are we for others in our immediate environment? Moving on to the same thing. Now, in each of these activities that children are doing, there are certain skills that they're learning. So I'm not reading the whole thing. It is pretty self-explanatory. So now here again, we are always after children that you need to be more organized, so helping them to organize their school bags, packing it themselves, packing up the toys, books, and play items, keeping them in place. And I think all these come from the kind of parenting style we have and the kind of environment they have in their schools. I've seen a lot in the Indian setup. In the preschools and the daycares also, the caregivers tend to overdo for children sometimes, especially if I talk of 3 to 6 years. They could also be involved in planning their meals, it's about decision making, deciding simple things, or what should I wear, of course, related to the season. So there is a boundary. And yet I've seen children, I want to only wear green. So why do you not make them wear red? Maybe we could get a different variety of things in green for that kid. And the kind of activities they would like to engage in. Now, there are times when children don't like to hold a crayon, or they don't want to like painting activity, but there are a lot of other alternatives that we could give to them. Even at home, small things, like we go in for fine motor skills, and me painting, holding this, doing a lot of playing with a lot of educational games, but simple things like shelling peas, de-stemming leafy vegetables, organizing different spaces in the house. If they've had a screen time, have they placed the cushions back? Or even in the kitchen, they could help their parents to put things in the right place. Now, it's very important to do those activities. However, I think as we are moving on time with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, it's very imperative for both parents and schools to lay a lot of emphasis on these issues as well. So are we talking and experimenting and role modeling things like reducing and reusing waste, judicious use of water, no wastage of food, because we need to value that. And as I said, that all these will not come only through an instructional way. We need to role model it. We need to engage them in doing things like this. Then why is buying of toys, games, and clothes? Now, there could be a small rule in the house that, and I've tried it out in our center, I've tried it out with my own grandchildren, that we're not going to, we'll buy you toys and games, but we're not going to buy anything which runs on batteries. Okay, or we are not going to buy too many jeans. One pair of jeans is more than enough. Just to let you know that one pair of jean manufacturing takes 10,000 liters of water. Then about waste management, then making the wise choices. If simple things we could start with children, that instead of carrying things from the in plastics, we use cloth bags. So this could be even given to children, kept in the car, using eco-friendly disposables. Now, a lot of birthday parties have been to, we gather so much of garbage, there is no limit. And here we go talk about big things in the conferences. So let's get started with that. Okay, even if we have to have disposables, could these be eco-friendly? And similarly, eco-friendly celebrations. Diwali is coming. Can we go in for just the clay diyas and not fancy things, something which lasts longer? Now, another aspect where we develop life skills is by connecting with and caring for our immediate environment. Now, things like getting into the habit of daily greetings. And we need to, as an adult, initiate it. And if child doesn't say it's okay, we shouldn't push them. Namaste karo, hello karo, good morning karo. When they see that happening on a daily basis, they will do it. Caring and supporting for siblings and friends. We need to give them opportunities like this to our children. And let me tell you, children learn super fast. They are great absorbers. Accepting and respecting differences. Now, what kind of activities are we doing? Are we only celebrating the festivals, as Vasabi said, that, things in India are way better because we are such a multicultural land, and where we have diverse culture. So it's very important that we celebrate everything and we engage children, because through this only they learn that there are no differences. Just today only we had a little puja. I'm going off the record, but a little puja at home. And one of the house help of my daughter who came, she refused to take the prasad. She said, if it is prasad halwa, I will not. Because in my religion, I'm not allowed to. So if that is the kind of, I mean, it was really shocking for me. So we really need to focus a lot on this. Love for care for plants and animals, not just sowing, but also nurturing them, talking to them, hugging trees, then daily appreciation and gratitude. Now, it is not like one day you make a thank you card for your mommy, one day you make a thank you card for somebody, anything. Even if I'm talking vegetables, appreciation and gratitude for vegetables, for making me healthy, for the guard who is out there taking care of our school. So it has to be embedded on a daily basis. Caring for sick, elderly, and not so fortunate. Now, how many of us have made a conscious effort to do this? And then, of course, judicious screen time, because if there is no judicious screen time, we're not going to connect to anything real, as Tijay also said. Now, there are a lot of activities that are happening at school, so we need to be more mindful. Are we looking at group work and play, developing friendships, pretend play? Then children also learn to follow instructions, directive play, following school rules. So the kind of skills that learn are decision making, problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, empathy, respect, compassion. Now, money matters are very important. Suddenly, we cannot expect children to do it. I remember once we had done this little exercise for children. We had asked them to bring 30 rupees. And we took them to Big Bazaar and we said, okay, we're going to go around and do some shopping. And each kid kept coming to us and said, but ma'am, 30 rupees, we can't buy anything. I said, that's the whole idea. Now, you go around looking at the price tags of each thing that you want to buy, but you cannot buy. So handling currency, knowing their currency, looking at the denomination, these are all number skills. Understanding the value of money, so that the coins are not gone. I still remember one of the master classes that I attended long time back. A person from Philippines had said that a culture which does not value coins will forever be living in poverty, right? So we really need to value even the smallest denomination. Encourage use of piggy banks at home, participation in family purchases and budgeting. Now, charity and donations are equally important, right? From the beginning, we used to have a lot of these compassion days every month. Then we don't only talk of expenses and keep telling them, oh, I have so much of an expense to make, but we also look at saving, we also look at investment. We can even do it with the number value of just 10. Now, it is again very important that children, today we are in a scenario that 21st century skill, we want to build entrepreneurship. Now, how do we build entrepreneurship? Suddenly, I also go as a guest faculty in the university and everybody is talking in its program in ECC on entrepreneurship. But not even one student wants to be an entrepreneur. Why? It doesn't come suddenly. We need to again embed it and integrate it in during the early years. So things like we are always talking, oh, you are a winner, you are a winner, you are a winner. Are children able to handle that they can also lose sometimes? And if they lose, even 100 times, they can again get up. Then supporting and navigating defeat. That's very, very important. And opportunity to articulate the views and ideas, as Neha just mentioned, accepting and respecting children's perspective and ideas. So it will only happen when we are having very good interaction and dialogues with children. Encourage experimentation with ideas. Now, many times children just want to experiment with water, experiment with sand. Now, these are the beginning or the foundation of their entrepreneurial skills. I still recall a 6-7-year-old girls in our daycare wanted to make cookies, and they knew that they cannot do fire cooking, so they'll have to only manage it in the microwave. They looked at some recipes, brought it, they laid the table, and they sold these cookies for 20 rupees each to the parents who came in the evening to pick up their children. So this is how we need to encourage and give them and opportunities. And another very important thing, we are always focusing on the result, never the process. So it is ensure that we make the process very joyful. If the child is playing with the blocks, so they want to make a tower and they want to make a building and suddenly it falls off. It's okay. We enjoyed the process of building it up. We'll build it again. We'll build it again. So that is, these are some of the things that we do on a daily basis, which are going to help us build the skills that we are trying to look at. So that's all that I had to say. I didn't want to get into more details. And yes, I am the founder of Anubhav Learning Center, which started way back in 2023, but it had to shut shop during COVID. And I have restarted another venture by the name Early Years Anubhav. Any of you interested, follow us on Instagram. And thank you very much, Wasabi and ECDF, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Neena. You gave a full insight into, what we actually need to teach our children from early on and how they need to be hands-on. I feel that, we as parents need to make them feel more useful and more productive. And if we assign them jobs and if we appreciate, if they complete it, that is what allows them, to feel that they have made a contribution. So that is very important to involve them. And like you said, entrepreneurial skills. We are from the Northeast, so what happens in the Northeast, it's more of the service. But why did it happen? Because the entrepreneurial skill development was not so much here as it is in other parts of the country. But gradually it's happening, and now we are teaching these skills to children from early years, not early years, but a little like during the early childhood time when they are given small things to, sell and share and use that amount to do what is best. So yeah, every place we need to allow the children to act independently, to think for themselves, and do small activities where they feel more fulfilled and useful. And I think that is one part of parenting we try to ignore, thinking that children are very little. And even if we are grown up, for my mother, I'm still a little one, and she tries to still advise. So this is our parenting love. But sometimes what we need to do is tough parenting. In tough parenting, we need to assign them job. We need to make them, move out of their comfort zone. And so beautifully said and touched upon everything that is important in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, and to appreciate everything that is nearby. Not to look at the grass which is on the other side, but which is on our side, and be filled with gratitude and love. And similarly, I'm filled with gratitude and love today for all of you who have joined us and given your time to this Sphere of Influence session 1, which we are about to conclude now. We have really run on time, and today our speakers have touched upon a plethora of topics, and all of them very, very relevant, all of them very, very important. And I feel that those who have not watched us, or because it's a Saturday, or maybe they're working, whoever has not watched us, we will be sharing this link so that they benefit from it. We are going to share it in our parents groups as well of Tender Petals of our preschool chain, and anybody who would want to change, because these are these are very important things that we need to know, and that is why ECDF takes up such initiatives to create this awareness. And we use use a lot of our time to get good speakers on our forum, and today I think the first half has been really fruitful, and I'm really happy. And thank you so much for sparing your time and being a part of this. And Dr. Neena, we are looking forward to having you in Guwahati and to make this parenting summit another success, because we want our parents to be educated on these lines. So viewers, we would be glad if you join us for the second innings of the Sphere of Influence season 4, which we are going to start at about 3 o'clock. And we have another long lineup of speakers with very interesting topics, and see you there again after a few hours. Thank you, dear speakers, for joining us, and thank you everybody who's watching us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Wasabi. Thank you, Neha. Nice meeting.